Hello. Hello, Dr. Murthy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. It's a little early in the morning on a Sunday, but that's fine.
Okay, we are sorry for the inconvenience.
It's
We
okay. I get up in the morning anyway to do my yoga, so that's fine. It's just
Wow. Wow.
I'm done with my session. That's fine. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'll mute myself till we start talking.
Yeah, sure. So our session is starting at 3:30. We'll like to stick to that time.
So just a question: do you want me to
Yeah.
turn off the video now too and mute myself, and then uh, I think it's about what time is it now? It's 5. What
It's
time is it?
15 minutes still for the session to start
Yeah,
at the
that's what I thought.
scheduled time. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So the schedule time. Fine, fine, fine. So I can. Do you want me to mute
Ac-
off, or anything is fine? Uh, Stop my video. That's fine. No worries. Either
Uh,
way.
I I think Mr. Jitendra is also there, so I'll just check with him too. Uh, Hello, Mr. Jitendra.
Hello.
So our session is starting at 3:30. We still have 15 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So is it okay that we wait till that time by muting the audio and video, or do you, it's okay that we can start by some questions and start the actual program at 3:30? Whatever suits you both, I'm fine.
I'm fine with anything. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, but
So
our topic is different or same? Our topic is different or same? I'm speaking.
Actually, the thing is, there was a session scheduled in the 3 to 3:30 slot, which was a different session, but for some reasons it could not happen, and that is why this is kind of a little free slot that we have. So, whatever is your preference, I'm going to do as per that.
Yeah, we can start early, finish early.
Because you would have told or sent the flyers and communicated that it is going to start at
Yeah,
3:30,
yeah,
and
yeah,
in
yeah.
case your viewers log
People
in,
will not be there. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it will, that is why I was thinking maybe some informal questions if you want we can do, or else we can
Wait,
wait.
wait, wait. Yeah, I think that will be better.
So we'll wait, fine. So, Dr. Padmini, have you already finished your yoga for today?
No, I haven't. I will do it
Because
once I'm done
your
with this.
face is shining as bright, all the yoga glow is there.
No, no, I took my shower in the morning, right? So, but I personally find yoga very, what shall I say? It's really, I don't know, I love it, especially now with the COVID. I think
Correct,
it's so
correct,
nice. Yeah,
correct.
yeah, because it's, how is the situation now, and where are you zooming in from?
We are in Bangalore.
Okay, Kannada Bharata.
No, I am North Indian. I'm staying here, so still trying to learn Kannada.
So, how is the situation in Bangalore?
Well, it is not so good. The numbers are still increasing, but off and on we are having lockdowns, and there is a lot of government activity. So I feel that we'll be able to control it in a way, and then by that time we'll get some vaccine.
Well,
So hopefully,
I
hoping
mean,
that.
it's nice to have you so optimistic, but the realist in me, and that to being a health person, is going to take a while, unfortunately,
For
because
the
it's
vaccine?
vaccine, not only the vaccine for the disease to go out, and it's not that if you can get a shot today, tomorrow, I mean, like, because we need to have herd immunity, and we have community spread. That's our problem. And I'm so
Mm-hmm.
sorry, your name doesn't come here. Can you kindly?
Kalpana. My name is
Oh,
Kalpana
okay, you know
Chauhan.
what? It says like, you appear as twice. It says WEF host, and then
Yeah, so that host is a technical person who is supporting with the technical.
but that person I see got it now. That's what I was wondering. Okay. So the host, I think, is recording or something because I see the recording button.
Yeah.
So what do you do, Kalpana?
I'm a corporate law advisor, and I deal with all corporate matters and legal work. So I am an independent practitioner, as well as I'm a founder director of a company called Eka Advisors.
Very
And
nice.
so we take care of all the corporate lawyer scope of activities.
Oh, great.
Mr. Jitendra, I think your face needs to be lit up a little more. We can't see you so
I
nicely.
don't know why it's dark. Let's see. I will just sit under the light. Let me see.
Yeah, this is better. This is better.
It's on mute.
Yeah, if you come a little near, I think it's better.
Okay, this way.
Are we coming on live now with our conversation?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
I'm so excited about the topic that we have for today, which is women's right and do we know it all? So it actually left me also thinking that do I really know it all, and is there more that I should know? So it's a very nice question, which actually uh, forces you to think whether we know it or not. So I'm really excited to know what exactly you guys have to say on that.
Okay, Dr. Padmini is also speaking on the same topic.
Yes. After you, she would be speaking.
I thought something to do with influence in cinema. No.
No, that session is only which is 3 to 3:30, which got cancelled.
Okay.
So you would be having 10 minutes each.
Okay. But
That's great.
doctor is in US, I think. So she will be focusing on US women's rights.
No, not at all. I'm not going to tell you what I'm listening to it. Thanks.
Women are the same globally, I feel.
Yeah. Rights are the same basically.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the virtual, we're all doing so many virtual conferences. I say we're all suffering from Zoomitis because whether for work, teaching our my students, everything we're doing on remote platforms. But I think this is going to continue for the next year or more. Because see,
I
one, there's so much of carbon footprints, right? You
Mm.
don't have carbon footprints.
Mhm.
And also, it's a lot more affordable for so many people. And I think and then you can always see the recording again, and it's much easier. And I think the platform is better because of all the, technology advances. So, but definitely this is not the last pandemic we're going to have, that's well, I'm putting out my health hat here. That's not the only pandemic. And we really need to be exceedingly careful, which
I
unfortunately we are not as a global population.
I totally agree with you, but I also feel that this is kind of an alarm bell for everybody, and it has forced everyone to think and rethink the way we have been living our lives. And the focus is totally now shifting on health and reducing all the carbon footprint and being eco-friendly. And suddenly it's like everybody is talking about that and understanding the importance of it. And as you rightly said, this digital format is initially everybody had a little irritation, I would say, in getting into this format. But once everybody is comfortable, I think it will stay here for very long because it really helps in many, many ways. Who could think that people from different continents could just zoom in and in a jiffy get connected to everybody, and we could be doing a digital summit. So I think it's definitely going to stay.
Yeah, you're right, Ms. Kalpana. And one of the other issues is, I think, as you say, we are more conscious because we are forced to become more conscious.
Yeah, yeah.
Because before we'd go like, it's okay. But now it's like, we have to do this. So we all are adapting ourselves to what is going on, to cope with the best we have. And again, unfortunately, even before the first wave is over, we have reinfections. You see, like some of the places in India, like Kerala, which are doing fine. I was reading just a few days ago that again, they have some, like when people come in, the same thing with Hong Kong. Again, it had that. I mean, now in New York, we thank God, as of now, we are fine, but we don't know when people start coming in, what's going to happen.
Very true, very true. So it is difficult to predict anything at the moment. Anything can happen. But as a doctor, I have a question for you. I have heard that when it comes again, the virus, or if there's a second wave, then the chances are that the person will be less sick. Is it true? They would have developed some immunity and it will help them.
I see. This is very new because again, they're saying that there is not, and there have been cases where patients have been reinfected. And the other thing is there are different strains of corona. Like, suppose you take the flu vaccine, people say, oh, I get sick, I get flu.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Mm-hmm.
there's so many strains. And now, as we can see, the corona vaccine is like they're different strains. For example, they said the young people will not be affected so much. But, so many of the young people are being affected. So it's all a question of, and see, this is something which everybody, we are all learning something new every day, like this is the thing, because they said only because there's some people who are at high risk with other diseases and older people who have recovered. And it was so sad because recently in Florida, because that's another state here which is burning, there was I think a 7-year-old child who died because of this. So it's like we really don't know, Ms. Kalpana. I mean, it's like you're really grappling in unknown territory, and you're kind of and I hate to say it, we're fighting an unknown enemy with very few or no tools. Definitely vaccine will be a game changer, but I'm being cautiously optimistic. Hopefully it is out soon. I'm not a microbiologist, so I cannot say more about that. But what I would say is there are a few basic principles, like we cannot let our guard down, wear a mask, or like wash your hands. It might seem funny. Like I was talking to my sister and my best friend from medical school. And then, when we were growing up in India, you could never eat food without washing your hands. You come back from school, you would change your clothes, you would wash your hands. And, I tell my daughter that, like, this is something we learned. So I keep asking her, even though she's grown up, like, did you do this? And she goes like, oh, then I go like, oh, I'm sorry, you're not a kid. But, it's just like kind of inbuilt into us
Yes.
that we keep on saying that. So
Yes,
it's
very true.
really, yeah. And we have to be so careful.
Right, very true, very true.
Because I hate to say this, there are 3 countries which are in the millionaire club for for COVID, in the US, Brazil, and India, because it's going up so much. And,
Yes, yes. Yeah,
and
the situation.
yeah.
The situation is definitely very, very scary, and it's very difficult to be positive. But then, if you be negative, then it affects your health even more. So, I have somehow kept hope, and I really prayed every day when I get up that I get some vaccine news today, and that is keeping me going. So, I'm always searching all the scrolls for some vaccine good news or something. So,
Great.
I think that is
So
the
I
way I'm dealing with it.
I have one question for you now. How do we, like, how can we exchange like our personal, like, contact email or something? Like, suppose I want to keep in touch with you, or keep in touch with somebody. You just like, because there's no way on Zoom, the chat box here is disabled to send a private
Yeah.
chat.
So maybe I'll reach out to each one of you in a LinkedIn or something.
That
You
would
must
be
be on
nice.
LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah,
LinkedIn,
yeah, yeah. So I'll find you guys and I will send you a.
on Twitter, you know.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. It's like
So
at
it's time now. So maybe we can start
you.
with the session. Yeah, thank you so much. It was lovely chatting with both of you. And so we'll quickly start a session. So hello and welcome to the Women Economic Forum Digital Summit 2020. I'm Kalpana Chauhan. I'm moderator for today's session on the topic Women Rights. Do we know it all? We are happy to have 2 very accomplished speakers with us to share their thoughts on the topic. I would like to introduce our first speaker for today, Mr. Jitendra Srivastav, who is a principal consultant, Made in India Corporate Training Academy, India. He has 34 years of work experience in managing and developing in human resources. Moving on to our next speaker, I am very happy to introduce Dr. Padmini Murthy, MD, Professor and Global Health Director, New York Medical College, the School of Health Sciences and Practice. She has practiced medicine and public health for the past 28 years in various countries. I welcome you both. And as I said earlier, I just can't wait to hear your thoughts on the very interesting question that is being put up today. Do women really know their rights? You have 10 minutes each, and depending on the time left, we'll try to take 1 or 2 questions. And just in case you lose track of your time, I'll just show this bell so that it can remind you that 10 minutes are over. Okay, so over to you, Mr. Jitendra.
Okay, so this is Jitendra Srivastav joining from Pune, India, saying Namaste.
Namaste.
First of all, I thank the Global Chairperson of Women Economic Forum, Dr. Harbeen Arora ji, for providing me yet another opportunity to speak or share my thoughts with such a vibrant virtual audience. I also congratulate the organizers of Web Bangalore 2020 for meticulously planning and successfully executing this summit. What we normally call in the industrial sector as excellence at every step from concept to commissioning. So in these COVID times, when we are not able to assemble in person, this digital summit is a brilliant idea to stay connected. So COVID-19 is taking so much of our everything, but it is also giving us something very special. It is giving us the opportunity to come together as one humanity, to work together, to learn together, and to grow together. Now, I will start with a recent message to world leaders from United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He urged the governments to put women and girls at the center of their efforts to recover from COVID-19. And that starts with women as leaders with equal participation or representation and decision-making power. This was the message from the UN Secretary General post this COVID-19. So, and then we all know about the Beijing Declaration, which was a resolution adopted by United Nations at the end of 4th World Conference on Women on September 15, 1995. It was here Hillary Clinton, at that time, the First Lady of United States, gave a speech, "Women's rights are human rights." And this speech is considered very influential in the women's rights movement and is listed at number 35 in American Rhetoric's top 100 speeches of the 20th century. Now, women's rights are fundamental rights that are enshrined by the United Nations for every human being on this planet nearly 70 years ago. These rights include the right to live free from violence, slavery, and discrimination, to be educated, to own property, to vote, and to earn a fair and equal wage. As the now famous saying goes, women's rights are human rights. That is to say, women are entitled to all of these rights, yet women and girls are still denied them, often simply because of their gender. Now, only when women and girls have full access to their rights, from equal pay and land ownership rights, freedom from violence, access to education, and maternal health rights, will true equality exist. Only when women have taken leadership and peacemaking roles and have an equal political voice will economy and country be transformed. And only then will all women and girls have the self-determination they are entitled to. Unfortunately, India still ranks 112 among 153 countries in the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index 2019. We have actually slided down. There's been a downslide of 4 steps from 108 in 2017 to 112 now. Now today, as I talk on women's rights, do we know all? I would make a point that it's not only the women who need to know all the rights, but also the men who should be conversant so that they can treat the woman right. So due to time constraints, I have decided to focus on 3 very major acts or laws or rights which affect a very large number of women in India. And if we talk about out of these 3, 2 are applicable to all working women in the country. So that is why it becomes even more important. So the first one is the Maternity Benefit Amendments Act, which came into force on 1st April 2017. And I'm happy to say that this act is a landmark act which has placed India in the league of progressive developed countries with respect to maternity benefits. Now, with the extended maternity leave benefit period, now earlier it was 12 weeks, now it is 26 weeks. India now qualifies among 16 countries having longest paid leave for new mothers. And this is about the law, but now I will be saying about this child care leave, which is not part of the law, but the government has adopted it as a benefit for the women. So all female government servants and those working in the central public sector undertakings are also entitled for child care leave for a period of 730 days, that is 2 years, to take care of 2 eldest surviving children up to 18 years. of age, whether for rearing or for looking after their needs such as education, sickness, etc. So this is a very, very progressive step which the government has taken, but it is not part of the law. I wish the private sector also adopts this childcare leave with full paid leave for 2 years. Now there is a problem here with this Maternity Benefit Act. Last time when I was in Madurai, exactly 6 months ago, there was a speaker who was assistant professor in a women's college there. She said that these private institutions and organizations are not complying with the law. They will not extend maternity benefits to the female employees. I asked her, what will you do if we have to proceed on maternity leave tomorrow? She said, I will have to provide them a substitute at my cost, which means I have to pay salary for 6 months to the woman I put in my place for teaching for the next 6 months. So this is gross violation of the act actually. So, and she said she can't complain also. That is the biggest problem, and I would not suggest also complaining because it runs the risk of losing the job. And I will not advise anyone to do something which can, make her lose the job. So that is a very tricky situation. So, and the second one is the harassment of women at workplace. That is Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act, which came into force on 9th December 2013. This relates to harassment at the workplace, but I was really shocked to go through a news in the National News Daily just 15 days back to learn that a 42-year-old general manager working in the launch of Terminal 3 at Indira Gandhi International Airport was arrested along with his 37-year-old colleague on a complaint by a 26-year-old woman who was working as a F&B assistant there, who accused them of workplace harassment. So what I want to say, the act has come in 2013, but this continues even till today, and this is the latest, I think, which I have read. And at a place, public place, that is not even a closed office, lounge in the airport is an open place. But there also these things are happening. So this is very, sad that such things would happen. But the only good thing here is the police or the law acted swiftly and arrested both. Normally, it's very difficult to get the culprits arrested. So this, she has succeeded. And now with COVID coming, there is a new trend coming up. A very funny and deplorable trend which has come to light is virtual harassment. Since March, when COVID-19 forced the country to stay indoors, it also compelled companies to shift to work from home mode. But with it have also come a new set of challenge, rise in complaint of virtual harassment. So it becomes imperative now that companies relook at what constitutes a workplace and by extension, what constitutes workplace harassment. Because earlier the workplace used to be the office where one is working. Now the home is also the office. So it is now they have to redefine actually. They have to relook and revisit this definition. So that is about the workplace. And the third one is your domestic violence, that protection of women under the Domestic Violence Act, which now applies to every woman, every married woman, I think, who has a home. So that's why I say that when a home becomes the scene of crime, nowhere in the world seems to be safe for a woman anymore. So, and this lockdown has exposed women to higher incidence of domestic violence, what I gathered from the newspapers. And there has been a sharp rise globally, putting women and girls at the receiving end of physical and emotional violence. Here, violence does not only confine it to the physical, it is also mental, psychological, emotional. So these are in very brief about the 3 acts which affect the largest female population, I think, both at home and at workplace. But all these laws, are they still continue to be violated. And that's why I say, just like a song is no song till you sing it, and a bell is no bell till you ring it. Similarly, a decision is no decision, even a government decision, it's no decision unless it is implemented, and a law is no law unless it is enforced. So I've got some suggestions for the government, but I think we'll first listen to Doctor, and then I'll come back.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Jitendra, for those insights. And I request Dr. Padmini Murthy to please come in and share her thoughts on the subject. Over to you, Dr. Murthy.
Thank you so much. Namaste, everybody. I'm joining in from New York. It's about 6:14 a.m. in the morning, and this is the greatness of globalization. So I'll say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night to because we have people in various time zones. Before I start my remarks, I would like to express my gratitude to the WEF and also to Dr. Harbeen Arora. I had the pleasure of meeting her 2 years ago in Delhi, and also to give a big shout out to all the women who are doing work on behalf of women, and also men like yourself, Mr. Srivatsav, because women cannot do the work without men. That being said, I just would like to start off, you talked about the Beijing Platform of Action, and it's the 25th year of the Beijing Platform of Action, and the 12 critical areas of concern for women are women and environment, women and power in power and decision making, the girl child, women and economy, violence against women, women and poverty, human rights of women, education and training of women, institutional mechanisms for the advancement of women, women and health, women and the media, women and armed conflict. The reason I bring up these 12 critical areas of concern, because this is the 75th year of the anniversary of the United Nations. And I have the opportunity of having worked as a consultant in the United Nations Population Fund, but also currently I represent my NGO at the United Nations. So that being said, yes, we have girls, I teach in the medical school, and over the past 15 years, I've seen the number of girls more in the classes than boys. But again, just to say, the specialties, it is so hard for a woman to become an orthopedic surgeon, to get into traditionally the male-dominated medical disciplines. But, let's put all that side on the back burner. Women everywhere, whether it's in the United States, India, Timbuktu, anywhere now, are always at the receiving end. And why should we say, yes, we are women, we need a right? I just hope the day comes, I have a daughter, I'm the proud mother of a daughter, and we are all somebody's mother, sister, wife, a friend, colleague. So why do we have to say, I'm a woman, I need my rights? So when we're talking about rights, first of all, most women do not have the basic fundamental rights. Like, for example, as young, at least thank God, my parents were very progressive, and they let my sister and I do anything we wanted within limits, of course. I'm sure if I told my mother I wanted to dye my hair purple when I was a teenager growing up in India, she would have said, okay, I don't know how it'll look, but go ahead and try. But the reason I bring this up is so many girls have to take the permission of their fathers, or later their brothers or sons once the women get older. So throughout the life cycle, you need to have permission. You need to praise somebody. So it's high time that we are really aware. Like, there's so many women who are single. So the first question is, oh, you didn't get married, so something is wrong with her. But nobody asks a man as often as they ask a woman, even in this day and age. And why don't we have more? And it's so nice we have more women pilots. Definitely, I think things have improved in the past 20 years. But again, we cannot say, oh yeah, we've improved. We have these policies, we have these laws in place. Now, I just want to shift gears to health because that is my area of expertise. And I would like to read this quote because when I was thinking of my remarks for this particular topic, which, and I'm so glad you see in that we women, we had a male speaker first. Thank you so much, Mr. Srivatsav. So we looked at the gender balance because here the moderator and one of the other speakers, both of us are women, but we, you know, this is what I'm saying. We work together and it's so nice that you highlighted women's issues. So this quote, beginning quotes, if we are to fight discrimination, injustice among women, we must start from the home. For if a woman cannot be safe in her own home, then she cannot be expected to be safe anywhere. And as you mentioned, Mr. Srivatsav, which I was also going to mention, so it's not that I was just piggybacking on what you said, but just to reiterate that during the COVID time, it's become so bad. And the United Nations Population Fund, these are the latest statistics, ladies and gentlemen, indicates at least 15 more million cases of domestic violence around the world for every 3 months the lockdown continues. So I describe the gender-based violence as a pandemic within a pandemic, because we have the pandemic of COVID-19, but we also have the pandemic of GBV, gender-based violence, which is going around. Now, moving to the healthcare, there are so many times that women do not understand that you can make the choice, like what treatment you want to have. If you want to delay having children, if you do not want to have a child, you want to adopt a child, but it is so hard. I have worked in situations where you tell the woman, it's okay, you want to have birth control, that's your choice, isn't it? And then she would go like, but I don't know what my spouse is going to say. So you see, unfortunately, this gender stereotyping, as I call it, as it's referred to, is one of the main reasons we have all these kind of barriers in place. So as women, and I think forums like this is so important because we can always go back and listen to what a speaker said. And it's also where we are sharing a case of best practices. That being said, I want to share this incident, which is really where women in a rural area knew their rights. So there was this woman. I had a student of mine who was a nun. She was a sister, and she was one of my students. And she said that when she was once on a mission in one African country X, I'm not naming the country, she said that, you know, she lived in a small rural area with the women, and there was this man who used to beat his wife every night. So one day, the women got together, you know, he would get drunk, he would come and beat her. So you know what they did? They all hid in the little hut, the one room of this woman who was being abused. And when the husband came home in the night, these 15 to 20 women they had brought pots and pans and vessels from their houses. When he started yelling and beating his wife, they threw them at him, all of them. And he said, oh, that hurt. And then what happened? He stopped beating her. So what I'm saying is these women realized, the reason I say that, it's not that it's an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, but we need to take things in our own hands. I'm sure some people are saying, oh, she's sitting there and she's saying that, but we need to, and we need to start somewhere. That's why we work together collectively in forums. And, you know, you talked about the laws in India, but I think, you know, universally, we need to have a law where women have access to the same health care as men. Now, there's another thing. We all wear masks. Now, do you know, a lot of times that the masks we wear, not these masks what we're wearing now, but when you're working in a high secure, area where you have to wear a mask, a lot of times the personal protective equipment is not made specially for women. It is designed for men. So that where is our right there? For example, when I used to operate in the theater, it's not that, oh, these masks are for women, these masks are for men. They were that, unisex. The reason I'm saying that is women have a smaller build. So sometimes what you're wearing may not fit you as well as it fits the man. It's the same thing with the safety, equipment. And once I saw, for example, I mean, I'm just holding up my mask because this can be worn by a man or a woman. It's not specifically designed for me. Of course, the color pink I like, but I'm just saying, you see, this is what I was trying to just make a point. And the other thing is, how many of us have seen, I grew up in India, even in other places where women do a lot of the work, the labor work, like the lifting work. Where do they have protective gears? Like if they're working in a factory, it's the same thing. We still see women bringing water in so many parts of the world, but we do not have the protection they need. So what I'm trying to say, these rights are just not for us who are professionals. It needs to be that a girl has the right to live the life she wants since she is born. And Amartya Sen, the Nobel laureate, I had the privilege of him writing a chapter for my book. The reason I bring this up is he was the one who first said 100 million women are missing in his groundbreaking essay in the 1980s. He meant even before women are born, they cease to exist. Because you have people having abortions, sex-selective abortions. Thank goodness that's not allowed in many parts of the world, including India. But I'm just saying, so why is it? Oh, and then, and I want to share another thing as we are beginning to wrap up, is that in a refugee camp, once the girl was not, a woman had twins, a boy and a girl. And in a refugee camp, the ration given to the children, she would give the boy, and the girl was starving. So when the health worker came and asked, why are you doing it? She said, because he's a boy and he will bring, he will take care of me and he will bring up, he will keep Naam Roshan Rakhega. He said, like, he's going to keep the name of the family. So if a woman herself discriminates against another woman, ladies and gentlemen, we have not evolved. I don't care. We're going to the Mars. We're going to the moon. India rocket went to the Mars. I mean, we were excited. Now I think the US is doing something. Yeah, we can do all these space explorations, but are we exploring safe spaces for women? This is my question. We all need to know our rights. How do we know our rights? We have all the, what do you call it? The TV channels. We have Twitter, I mean, we're all tweeting all the time. We have Facebook. So I think we need to publish stories where women know their rights. Like, you're a woman, this is what you can do. And you don't need to be ashamed you're a woman, And the other thing I would like to have on this podium is that because women need to know their rights. I was in Kenya a couple of months ago, last year, because of the International Conference on Population Development, 25 years. Do you know that a young girl was shamed by her teacher because she got her period and she stained her dress and she committed suicide? When her mom went home, this child, yes, that's the response. So we need to make sure that we have conversations which are decent but powerful. And women in media are being exploited. Why are we having a woman who is, like, in the swimming pool? So what I'm trying to say is, we as a global society, it's within all of us, need to make sure that a woman's biological functions, like, to me, it's a basic violation of a human right. If a girl had to kill herself, a 13 to 14-year-old girl, because she was shamed because she had a period, which is a normal physiological phenomenon. So we need to remove the taboo against conversations like period, like menopause, and talk about women's needs, not to make fun of her. Oh, it's that time of the month, she's cranky. No, because if women did not have their biological functions, men would not be there, because a woman goes through this cycle and gives birth to men. The reason I'm saying that is we need to be aware. So do we really know our rights? summing up in 10 seconds, we are not fully aware of our rights. This is not taught to you in medical school. It's not taught to you. You're an attorney. Ms. Kalpana, you're an attorney, or somebody who, Mr. Srivatsav, you are a consultant with so many years of experience, I guess, in management, or human resources, but this is not taught. So forums like these are so crucial. And I just hope we do continue the dialogue as much as we can, because dialogue gives rise to change. And let's not forget, the pen is mightier than the sword. And here I would say the Twitter is mightier than anything else. So thank you so much hanging around for all any questions, comments. So thank you. And I think I kept to my 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was a really amazing talk. I just want to listen so much more from you, but I know we have time constraints, and I'm like shaken up with so many examples that you gave. It is really unbelievable, like the example that you have given of that 13-year-old who was forced to commit suicide. It's really, it suddenly touches some chord inside you that this is happening, and we are talking about the new 2020 that we are in. So a lot of work needs to be done. I understand that, and a lot of awareness has to be brought in, and forums like this are definitely doing a lot about it. And with support from people like you, we are continuously doing more and more work, and we always have to be positive. And I think that is the way that we will someday overcome some of the issues that we have. So thank you so much. I don't think we have any time for questions. So I'll just wrap it up by saying thank you for the beautiful session that we had. And I have, and you want to say something?
Yeah.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to give my message actually.
I'll just announce the announcements, and then if you have time, we'll come to that, because the session will go offline. So I'm thrilled to announce the Iconic Leader Creating a Better World for All award that is being conferred at this digital summit of Women Economic Forum to Jiten Srivastav as a recognition for the outstanding work that he has been doing. And I'm equally thrilled to announce this Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All award that is being conferred to Dr. Padmini Murthy at this Global Digital Summit of Women Economic Forum as a recognition for the extraordinary work that you have done. And since it's a digital format, the awards will reach to your mailbox, and further details will be communicated through an email. And thank you so much, and congratulations for the award. Little clap from me.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Jiten, please.
Yeah, what I want is actually, there is a song by Bruce Springsteen, which is part of the human rights concern. Since women's rights have been declared as human rights, so this song is very apt. Get up, stand up. This is for all the women. Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. So when will you fight? There is a formula for that also. Like mom said, if they stand behind you, protect them. If they stand beside you, respect them. And if they stand against you, defeat them. So it is the third situation which clearly requires women to swing into action. That's the message I wanted to give all women. Yeah, no need to stop.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
5 seconds to say something?
Yes, please, please.
Thank you so much. I just want to say, in the spelling of a woman, W-O-M-A-N, a man is there. So it's not that he is superior to a woman. In women, the spelling of men is there. So we need to be cohesive. There's no gender bashing, and we need men to come out in support. And again, I wish both of you all the best. And Kalpana,
thank you so much.
In touch with you. And
definitely,
I think definitely a difference, because we need to uplift not only that. And I want to give out a big shout out to all the youth who work so much on using these platforms instead of just, whiling away their time. So thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.